Oh, speaking of blood, someone sent 2 vials of blood to the RNC headquarters in D.C. addressed to Trump.
What if he drinks them and gets younger and more beautiful?
That's a donation.
Yeah.
That's a donation to the RNC.
I appreciate the blood.
Yeah, I hope Trump makes a statement about the blood.
Yeah.
Everything counts.
Yeah.
It's not just a drop in a bucket. I'm pouring it directly into my open wounds.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Overshadowed, a special episode with our guest host, Nick, for this evening. Charles, we're not sure. He could have died.
Yeah.
He's not doing well.
I told Charles when I first met him, he seemed like the type that would die young.
Yeah, really? When you first met him?
First met him.
I thought it was just in the car.
No. It was like early.
Oh, that's funny, because then you also mentioned it when we were all 4 in the car together, and he really resented it.
Yeah. Well, because he's got such a friendly, smiling disposition.
And he's so into health, it would be the tragic story of the guy who, like, takes care of his microbiome and then he gets hit by lightning or something.
It's always like at a funeral, it's always like, oh, that guy just lit up a room. Everybody loved that guy. He's one of those guys.
Marathon runner. Can you believe it?
I feel like people who die, everyone always says, like, everyone thought they were that guy's best friend. And I think Charles is one of those people. Everyone's like, yeah, me and him were so close. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And then so he'll die.
Yeah, he probably. Well, this is consider this your first interview for the podcast. Yeah. I'll actually be asking you a series of questions. Mm-hmm. What do you think your greatest strength is?
Just being tall, honestly. I think I have personal strengths and personality things that are not, but I don't think they even come close.
Being tall is huge in society. It gets you a lot. I was talking to a guy yesterday who's very tall who was telling me I'm in the mix. He is addicted to dating apps, and I was thinking about it today, and I was like, oh, it must be because he's so tall.
Sure.
Like, I bet short guys aren't so addicted to dating apps, but I bet tall guys have an issue.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's just like so much wealth, so much plunder to be had for a tall guy.
Short guys think they have all this willpower. Like, I can just set it down.
Yeah. I don't need it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. It doesn't grip me. I like to learn and work on myself.
Yes. But thank you for coming down to the studio, the Flatbush studio in Little Haiti. Mm-hmm. I've been making this joke. I tell people I live in Little Haiti, and then I go, fit right in. What do you think of that?
It smelled like fish when I got off the train. And then I walked up, and there was like a little like coolers of fish. They're having like a little sale.
Yeah, it's a community down here, man. You should. Whenever I tell people I live in Flatbush, they're like, whoa, that's really out there. But it's not that far. It's on like some Maine trains. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't crazy.
You can take a train from Maine to get here. Mm-hmm. It's not nuts. So you like the studio?
I think the studio is lovely.
Thank you. I wanted to get that on the record.
Yeah, it's cool. I like all the pictures of funny animals and things. These are all
those are Asian people.
Oh
God.
Oh.
Actually, they're all Asian people.
You should have told me that before.
If you squint, you can tell. And then that's a guy pretending to be Asian.
Yeah.
Who is that? T.E. Lawrence of Arabia. I think he was like a honorary. I don't know. Is that okay if I just... Yeah, I think that's all right. But yeah, he went over to Arabia and he was one of those like white people who joined Islam and, I think. I haven't read the book. It's
supposed to be good, isn't it?
I think it's supposed to be great. It's called The Triumph, but it's written in the same font that the title is, so I don't know if he wrote that. The 7 Pillars of Wisdom, a Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best book ever. I was thinking about that maybe for like my special. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I just want to call it something that people that will optimize it for SEO.
That's what
I might just name my special like Sydney Sweeney Leaked.
Yeah, missing child.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Or who's the Kate Middleton cancer diagnosis results?
Yeah. 50 dead in Israel.
2025.
Yeah.
No, 50 dead in Israel is going to be old news by the time.
50 more dead in Israel.
No. It's going to be, I'm telling you, dude, a lot of people on both sides have lost a lot of friends because of just divisions within the group about this conflict, which I think is crazy. But.
Oh, you meant lost a lot as in they argue.
Correct.
Like I thought you meant people over there have lost
No,
a lot of friends.
I'm talking about the tragedies happening here on U.S. soil, which is the loss of friendship. Yeah, the conflicts happening between friend groups. And has been so focused on, I don't want to blow up her spot too much, but she's been, busy with other stuff. So like she hasn't lost too many friends just because she's not really giving it that much attention. I think that's perfect because when she finally has the time in a year or two to really think about all this, we're going to have moved on. It's going to be a new thing. Because like Israel-Palestine is the social hip cause Yeah. It's like the black square, the blue and yellow flag. Like Ukraine is on, nobody cares.
No.
But people were juiced up for Ukraine like a year ago.
I was able to avoid that one. I didn't learn anything about that one.
Right. So that's what I think is going to get away with. That she's just going to skip it. Yeah, exactly.
You can like sort of go under.
You can.
But then you do have to eventually come up, and there's the fucking next one.
Did we talk about this? Where I think we did on your podcast, R.I.P. Why couldn't you just dive under a tsunami wave and survive that? You know how you dive under a regular wave?
It takes longer than your breath.
But if I've watched David Blaine's masterclass,
I didn't know
and I understand how to hold my breath. Yes, of course.
No, but I think it's the debris.
The debris. Oh, yes. But assuming that I didn't get hit with, a bus floating through the surf, and I just could cling on to the bottom or something for like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that would be? No. What if I became the debris?
You would, I think.
Yeah, dude, I'm worried about Charles.
Wait, I had another riff about tsunamis.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I just hate when the tsunami comes and wipes everybody out, and then the first thing, they're like, what were they wearing? Bathing suits? They were asking for it.
They're asking for it, yeah. What do they have, an inflatable tube around them?
Yeah, oh, jeez.
Basically waving the ocean towards you. That's like when people sit too close to the ocean with their chairs, just daring it to tickle their feet and knock them over. Mm-hmm. I love, one of my favorite parts about going to the beach is watching like a middle-aged woman just get decked by a wave. Like she's just trying to get the feet wet and cool off a little bit, doesn't want to get the hair wet. Because there's that sweet spot, like the crash zone that you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
So they'll kind of taunt that almost by going so close just to get the knees wet, and then a wave comes and hopefully their husband called them. They're like, what? Boom.
Yeah.
Love it. So fun.
I like to pass attractive women and then not look at them.
That's good.
I in my head I imagine that they're like, wow, that guy didn't even look at me. He doesn't even need me.
When in fact you do so much that you've thought about not looking at them.
Yeah.
That's what they should be thinking. Oh my God, he's so obsessed.
Yeah, he's
2 steps ahead of me.
That's actually what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see them way like when they're still this big and I'm like, no.
God,
I got enough.
That speck looks so hot.
Yeah, wow. I'll fill in the details. Yeah. But in my head she's like blurry.
Yeah, that's already too much. You're like already about to come.
Yeah. Well, because she's this big and I have to like zoom in mentally.
Right.
So she's like pixelated.
Yeah, she's just like 16 like beige blocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is hot. It's super hot. Yeah, dude, it's kind of funny looking back now that Charles has like been to the hospital for right. Probably by the time I publish this, because that's gonna take 3 weeks.
Yeah, let's just assume he's dead.
Let's just moving forward. Let's just assume he's dead until the next episode. Yeah. Oh my God, Luna, hold on. What was I gonna say about Charles? Oh, well, it's funny looking back. Can we get a cloudy picture of him right here, and maybe some dates under his face. He would tell me, he'd be like, yeah, man, working this new job, waking up early. I got this early morning cough. And I'm like, yeah, that stinks. And I didn't really question it. But now that he's had like some medical issues, I'm like, there is no such thing as an early morning cough. It's like, yeah, man, this midnight diarrhea. Yeah. It's just keep staying up past 12 and shitting soup.
He has I bet he doesn't get proper medical attention just because the way he speaks, you don't hear severity in his tone ever. He'll just say a bunch of horrible, sad things in this like, my girlfriend left me and like everybody I know is dead. Like, it'll be good. I bet he does that with doctors.
I bet on the pain scale, doctors have never clocked him above a 4.
He's probably saying 10. He's like, it's 10.
It's 10. They're like, I'm going to write down 2.
Yeah. Most excruciating thing I've ever felt in my whole life.
It's not good,
Yeah. It'll be good.
Hurts so bad I can't feel it.
Yeah.
But, I hope he's okay.
Charles screaming in agony, just
it's EH.
Yeah.
EHHHH.
Whatever.
Yeah. He's made me more, get out of here. I'm just going to be on camera hitting a dog. She does love it, guys. I want you to know she loves it.
Yeah.
I've become more hypochondriac. Because of Charles, because like he has these issues and like can't, he'll go to nutritionists and they're like, yeah, you're not ingesting any nutrients, so his body's not absorbing the nutrients. And then sometimes I worry that I'm eating and stuff and I eat a big meal, but I feel hungry and tired and I'm like, is my body not absorbing any of the nutrients? But I think he's got like a nightmare factory inside of him.
It's
where like, he doesn't have a tapeworm. He has like a demon or a ghost sucking like not only the nutrients but the soul from his body.
Yeah, it's like in Full Metal Alchemist, the original one, how they draw alchemy from the other dimensions, souls. That's there's some other version of Charles that is.
There's a dark purple door inside of him with hands and eyes reaching out from it and grabbing like hamburgers and stuff,
just taking all of the
and
fruit
grocery store sushi.
He's eating it.
Yeah, it could be all the it could be all the bodega sushi also.
Right.
We're not sure. I don't know who that could be hitting the doorbell, but I am happy that Luna's gone now because she was really bugging me. And this is better. I wonder if you're going to be able to pick that up. Luna!
There's a dog. Luna's freaking out over there. I don't know why I won't call her Luna. I always call her Nuna.
I do too. I don't like the birth name. It seems too formal.
Luna. I think it's slightly more work on my tongue to make an L than an N.
Yeah,
because
you have to do a rainbow.
Resting is N almost.
You have to make a rainbow with your tongue.
Yeah,
but you just kind of. I can do an N in my sleep.
Yeah, ol feels like the equivalent of my tongue having to like stand up.
Yeah, and do a backwards arch.
Yeah.
But you don't even really have to do anything with your tongue. You just press it against the back of your teeth and let air out.
You never say Lauren's name because it's just work.
Right, yeah. The evil one is much better.
It's easier. Rolls off the tongue. Nuna, I can let that just pour out.
Dribble out. Luna. Yeah, you could be. You could be. What are you barking at, you dumb dog?
I was watching a clip of Elon Musk today. He says M's with his teeth. He's like, He's like, marvelous.
My favorite show is Marvelous Miss Maisel. Yeah. In terms of the MCU, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't like that. What do you think of my backyard? Pretty exciting.
It's nice. I mean,
it's coming along. It's not there yet, and we're go ahead with your evaluation.
I understand why you won't get real grass, but I mean, there'll always be that in that you could have had real grass.
No, but we couldn't have.
You could.
I mean, in an ideal world where we have like a hose and soil, this used to be used for like I think every construction crew that built the buildings around our backyard would just dump the shit into this backyard.
I don't think you need a hose. I think it rains enough for grass to live in like here.
Your face betrays that.
I think you'd be fine. I mean,
you have a sly grin that tells me you're lying to yourself.
No, I'm not lying. I smile because I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, you are.
But I think
grass is hard.
There's grass at the park.
I think that's hard. They rope it off and say the grass needs rest.
Not at Prospect.
Yes, I've seen that.
I am tough on that grass.
I'm
like, grow up, get a job.
Right.
Your brother's a tree.
Stepbrother. It's not blood related. Yeah, we can't have grass, but I do think it's kind of funny that Molly will send me on these like missions. Like she'll be on Facebook Marketplace because we've gotten a lot of stuff from Marketplace or like Buy Nothing. Or those places, and she's the one who's doing that, which I appreciate. But they'll say, this is $60. This rug's $60, and she'll be like, "Would you do 40 if we could pick it up today?" I can pick it up today. I have a car. I'm very flexible. I have not, and it's me. It's me that has to do this. She's like, "I'll come right now. Where do you live in Pennsylvania? I'll be there." She's pimping out me in my car as this like unemployed delivery man, which I'm somewhat happy to do. But it's kind of funny that she'll text me. She's like, "Babe, 5 p.m. Can you do the pickup?" And I feel like I'm a low level drug runner.
Yeah, very low level.
I'm trying to get into the gang,
but I trust you with drugs yet.
I have to do the bitch. Yeah, I have to like pick up pallets.
Yeah,
and fucking
treat it like it was heroin.
Yeah. Try to be sneaky about it.
People ask you what you have, don't tell them, even though it's
trying
just pallets.
I'm trying to pick up a pallet. I'm like, can you give this to me in like a handoff?
Yeah,
so I'll deploy my umbrella and you deploy your umbrella, and nobody will know. So I'm racing all over town. We're doing a little Memorial Day thing. That'll be fun. Have you seen all these tornadoes that are happening in the Midwest?
I saw a video you sent me.
Did you see it? It was beautiful.
I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be looking for. I was expecting it to go in the tornado and see it, but it was just a tornado.
Well, I think if they went in the tornado, they would lose the drone.
Well, that's why I was like, why? That would have made the video worthy. I've seen a tornado.
Yeah, that's true, but not like this.
What was different about it?
I thought it was just more 4K HD, because like helicopters can't get near tornadoes. It'd be way riskier. Planes, again, should stay away from tornadoes. If anyone's flying a plane out there, don't steer it near a tornado because you want to get a nice view for the passengers.
What if you wanted to make a really quick U-turn? Could you do like how spaceships
like a slingshot? Yeah.
And then
maybe for an experienced pilot, they're like, I see a twister, about 2 clicks left. Just gonna do that circle back.
Yeah.
Jump the line.
Yeah. Do you guys want to save 15 minutes?
Right. Yeah. But I did think it was interesting that they have drones now because I kind of miss the pre-drone. Was this in Idaho or Iowa? It was one of the I's. And there was one that like ripped up Houston too, which I think is not common. Like in the city of Houston, it was getting torn up. So there's more tornadoes now, and I think that's why we're going to see more footage of them. Did you ever get like your home in Virginia get like wrecked by a hurricane ever?
Hurricane Isabel.
What happened?
Nothing really. It just knocked out power and a bunch of trees. We had no power for a week, and then the neighborhood became kind of a community for a week, and then we undid it. As soon as we got the power back, I didn't talk to those guys again.
Stop waving to them.
Yeah, but we were out every day, like for breakfast. We'd all meet up, and whoever had like the instant coffee would bring it, and whoever had eggs.
Wow,
it was really nice. And then never again.
So you had breakfast in like the street?
Yeah, in like the cul-de-sac, or it was like
for a week you all were black.
Yeah.
You had a sense of community.
And we talked like that.
You had block parties. Of course, you got to talk like that if you're hanging out outside.
It was a cookout.
Right, of course. Yeah.
That's how I started drinking coffee. My mom wouldn't let me have coffee, but then because it's a hurricane, you can have coffee. And then I've already had 2 energy drinks and a coffee. No, 3 cups of coffee and 2 energy drinks today.
Yeah, that was the start of the decline. It's crazy that Charles is flatlining as we speak, and you are here better than ever.
I don't sleep.
I know, and you have so much caffeine. Your mind's going to be mush by 35.
Oh, yeah.
Just like your I
already repeat
your mother
all the time. I can't remember anything.
You do.
I'm embarrassed about it. I can't remember.
You'll tell me the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I'll tell you the next part of the story, and you're like, oh.
But the thing is, I still want to tell you. I get some sort of dopamine hit from just telling you.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, though, with the community. I kind of want to hear more about that.
Okay.
So you first had coffee. How old were you?
Like 10, maybe 9.
Really? You had coffee? You wanted coffee?
I wanted it so bad, and my mom would give me little sips.
Because adults were drinking it. Or you liked it?
Tasted good. Well, and my mom put a lot of cream and sugar in it.
Oh, so this was,
so
okay.
It just was good.
I assumed you were drinking black instant coffee as a 9-year-old. Like you're just...
No, I had to work up to black coffee.
Okay.
I spent a summer.
I started black because I knew that was my goal all along.
That's good.
So I started there. It's also funny during like a blackout and a hurricane. Your mom's like, "Yeah, I might as well have my kid be wired."
Yeah.
For this experience.
Yeah. No electricity, no TV, and I'm just like, "What do we do?"
Right.
I can't
run around outside. Yeah.
My dad, I remember, insisted he has to sleep. Or he used to be very, very fat, so he was. Fat people are at like a different temperature than everyone else.
Yeah, dude. Am I sweating here? Yeah, I sweat a lot. And I can't imagine how much I would sweat if I was fat.
Like 300 pounds. So he couldn't sleep without air conditioning. I forget what the deal was. I don't know why, but it was cooler upstairs, which I know sounds wrong. But
yeah.
Maybe he had I forget what the deal was, but he could
secret generator.
Yeah. He could cool down upstairs somehow. But it was
somebody on life support. The house over was dying because your dad needed it to be 65.
Yeah. So he went and slept upstairs, even though it was still like hurricaning. But you know, it was probably the first day of the hurricane. We were in the basement. Herman Cain, yeah. Remember that guy?
Hurricane for president. Was he a presidential candidate?
Yeah, once. And Jon Stewart made fun of him for wanting to shorten the length of bills, which I actually thought was a very reasonable thing because a lot of bills.
Twitter was great because it was limited.
Yeah, well,
it had to be concise.
I think it's like a trick. They'll like have a vote and the bill is like 200 pages. So it's impossible that you could read it, but they still have to vote within a certain time frame. Anyway, so he was like, the bill should be like 3 pages. And I was like, that's great. Yeah. And then Jon Stewart kept making these slogans. It was like, I'm Herman Cain and I do not like to read. And it's like, hey, shut up.
Making something shorter is harder.
Much harder.
Ben Franklin has a quote. He's like, I'm sorry for the long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one.
Yeah. And the guy who sent back just wrote gay.
Yeah. And he's like,
Ben Franklin was like, that's incredible.
Brilliant.
This must have taken like a year.
He must have been working on this for a while. Mm-hmm. It's crazy the timing worked out to respond to mine.
Gay, but there was a whole page of erasing.
Yeah.
And cross outs.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the page. Yeah. It was near the end.
Yeah. There's hundreds of crumpled up attempts.
Okay, so...
But anyway,
it was still hurricaning. Your dad's sweating like a pig.
So we still had power upstairs, but I think we didn't have AC in the basement, but it was safer in the basement. But he just slept upstairs in the hurricane because he couldn't sleep. But then I couldn't sleep because I was like, my dad's going to get... I thought it was going to rip the top of the house off.
Yeah, of course.
And hurl my big fat dad Yeah. Just through other houses and stuff.
It's like he's like Goku or like a superhero. Like his body is intact, but it just
it was like he got punched by Superman.
Right.
Yeah. That's a big problem in those movies because you're like, all right, he gets punched, that hurts a little bit, but then does flying through the buildings hurt more? It would seem no.
It seems the punch would hurt the most, and all of this would kill you.
Well, yeah, but like Kryptonian, like Superman fights Darkseid.
What? We're not at the cookout anymore, Nick. You don't have to.
That's how it's spelled.
Darkseid.
It's Sied. Darkseid.
Yeah, isn't it Said or something?
Yeah.
Darkseid. Yeah, Darkseid.
Yeah. In the DC, canonically, he's from Apocalypse. That's the planet, but that's just people's. That's
I think
just
you meant Azerbaijan.
Israelis' name for guys. Apocalypse.
Yeah. So you're worried that your dad's going to get ripped away into the night.
But I didn't sleep that night.
He did.
He did not.
He didn't.
He did not
Sorry.
get hurled away.
I missed that.
He was fine. But I wanted to tell you, because of my lack of sleep or whatever, this happened 2 nights ago. I went to sleep and I woke up and Manth goes, what was up with you last night? I was like, what? She was like, you just started like making out with me at like 4 a.m. And I was like,
last night?
2 nights ago. I didn't remember. And
because
then
last night I woke up at 4 a.m.
Were you in my apartment and did we make it out?
It's a little hazy, but finish your story and I'll tell you mine. See if it lines up.
Manth just wait. She in the morning was like, you were like passionately kissing me, and I was like, what? And then
was Manth awake?
No. And then I was like, oh,
well, then how does she know?
I did because I woke her up.
Because you guys have a Ring doorbell facing your bed.
Yeah, she was. Because I do weird stuff.
Yeah. Because
she keeps waking up with bruises. No, she I guess woke up
claw marks.
Yeah,
you were passionately clawing at my loins.
Yeah.
I love you, babe.
Yeah, I didn't remember doing it until she reminded me, and I was like, oh, I guess I did. But it was like I was like like dreaming.
And she kissed you back?
Yeah.
Who's the assailant in this?
I mean, I'm certainly worse, but I was like sleep kissing.
Yeah, but she's awake kissing you back.
Kissing me sleeping. Which she knows I must have been asleep because I would never kiss her.
No.
Ew.
No.
We've been dating for over 10 years. We don't kiss.
Yeah, the most you'll do is nibble her nose.
I like to put my whole mouth around her nose and then blow into it.
That's disgusting.
Because your breath will blow out her mouth. It's really funny.
Oh, like a pool noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it won't come out the eyes or ears. Gotta blow
well,
really
hopefully one day
hard
science will get us there. Maybe that's what they're working on with Charles.
Yeah.
We've connected your eyes, ears, and mouth and nose. So you're going to cry out of your nose and you're going to burp out of your eyes.
So you woke up at 4 a.m., huh?
Oh, yeah. I woke up at 4 a.m. last night. I was just so sniffly. Like I woke up with the sniffles.
Uh-oh.
I had...
morning coughs.
What?
Morning coughs.
This is how it starts. I'm getting 4 a.m. sniffles. Oh, no. Well, next week it's going to be Nick hosting Overshadowed. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of miserable. Like I've never woken up and just had both of my nostrils so clogged, and then I woke Molly up, and it's not really a story, but it was just kind of bizarre. It's never happened to me. Or I wake up and I'm drowning in my own snot. It's upsetting.
Scary.
Luna, please, we're trying to podcast. Do you not understand?
Do you ever have where both your arms fall fully asleep? Where it's past tingles, where it's like you have no arms?
Yes.
And it's usually I'm lying on them like an X.
Yeah.
And then because I can't get up. Because they're totally dead, and I'm on my full weight's on them, and I have to. And I have to use Mantha's leverage, so I'm like fully on top of her. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
so you don't remember kissing her at all?
When she said that, I was like, "Oh my god, I did!" But it was like how you remember a dream, where
right?
It's like flashes, and it doesn't like make sense.
And her tongue's like 3 feet long.
Yeah,
it's wrapping around your body and holding you in midair like Venom. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, "Were you?" She was earnestly like, "Were you like masturbating?" And it's like, no, no.
I love she always accuses you of sexual things when you're the victim of your own body.
Yeah. Also, if I was masturbating, I would not use my sleeping girlfriend's face as a masturbatory.
Yeah, I would turn
aid.
as far away as I could and get as close to the edge of the bed and try to forget she was there.
I do that. If I ever do masturbate in bed, it's not because I'm anything about it. I just don't want her to wake up and be like, "Are you masturbating?"
No, so you get super far.
I get really far, and if she
replace her with Nelly.
yeah. But yeah, sometimes Mantha will roll over, and I'm like, and I'll. She's usually asleep. We'll just say yes to stuff. So I'll just be like, "Manth, roll over," and she'll just roll back over, and then I can keep masturbating.
Does she snore?
Not such that it makes me not be able to masturbate.
Okay,
that should be the litmus.
Yeah, you can still cut through.
Yeah,
and see that little pixelated beach speck.
Yeah.
Dude, I was in it's kind of a weird transition, but I was in a hotel room with my mom once, and not masturbating, at least not in the bed, but we were in separate beds, and she woke up and she didn't. This was in her sleep. I think she was having a nightmare or something. She full screamed. She was like, oh, and it was crazy. And I got so scared because I didn't know. I thought, a demon possessed my mom. And then I woke her up. She had no memory of it. She's like, well, I'm sorry. That sounds scary.
I was in a hotel room with my whole family, and I was the last one up. And I just kept repeating, thank you. And everybody made fun of me like it was a sex dream. I could have been getting change. You don't fucking know.
You could have been working like a minimum wage job.
Yeah, I could have been ringing people up.
Yeah, you could have been taking donations with a bell, like the Salvation Army guy.
Yeah,
you could have been doing anything.
You could have been famous. Thank you,
right.
Thank you. Like no, they
you could have just been an autistic guy reading Chinese delivery bags.
Yeah, no, but they assumed I was, I don't know, having sex and.
Yeah, very grateful. Gratefully having sex.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever said thank you during sex. So Nick was having sex and he was being weird about it.
Yeah.
This means so much to me. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit on my face. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't know what to do with this dog. It's really
I'm not distracted by it.
I know, she's coming up to me, that's why.
No.
I'm like every time I try to get her to stop, she just thinks that's more aggressive.
It's more
aggressive
you're
playing.
like, stop, and she's like, yes, growl at me.
Yes.
I'll growl at you.
Bark at me, bite me in the hand. Can we pause? I'm so distracted by this dog. Can we pause for like 5 minutes? Okay, I have neutralized the dog. She's with Charles now. She's a big farm
on a farm with Charles.
The big Arizona in the sky. Anyway, I went to a wedding. College friend's wedding, and I didn't read the invitation. I mean, I didn't read the website. Like, I went to the wedding, I got the address right.
Yeah,
but
showed up to just a random place. There was no wedding.
Showed up to an empty barn with no nuptials.
I was pissed, but I danced.
No open bar. I danced the night away.
At weddings. Yep. I don't care what the situation.
Yep, I woke up naked, covered in blood, had a good time.
Yeah, no open bar, no tables, no other people. I don't care. I'm gonna have fun at the wedding.
Fuck something, I'll tell you that much. And it went. But I went to this wedding and I didn't read the invitation, the instruction, whatever. And so I wore a suit. I wore like a blue suit, nice dress shirt. But anyway, I show up to the shuttle area where they're all taking us from the hotel to the venue, and I see my group of college friends that I haven't seen since the last college person's wedding I went to. And the first thing that one of my friends says to me, whose wedding it was last time, was, "You're not wearing a tie?" And I'm like, oh, my heart dropped, all the color left my face. And I was like, I'm not in the wedding. And then I just hugged everybody individually. And it was very weird. But crazy thing to say right off the bat, right? Not like a hello. That was the first thing I was greeted with, "You're not wearing a tie?" Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, but I would not be bothered by that. I would be like, I don't want to go. So.
Well, I thought... I guess I'm already nervous about seeing these college friends.
And you did not have a +1?
Didn't have a +1.
That's more stressful.
It's just me. I'm
just
+1
solo. You can retreat into your...
No. I just hugged everyone individually. It was very awkward. "Hey, Luna, you're back and upset?" "Yeah, I bet you are. You don't know where your ball is, and you don't trust me anymore." "Good. Don't ever come to me for anything." Anyway, so apparently the dress code was black tie optional.
There you go.
That's what I thought. But apparently that means you can wear a tuxedo, or optionally you can wear just a normal suit with a tie. That's what I thought. Optional modified tie. And again, I didn't know any of this. This is just retroactively looking at black tie optional. But
I wouldn't have known that either.
I also thought ties were kind of out. I thought, cool people go to mixers, and I had a nice suit and stuff. I don't know. The suit had some holes in it, and the pants were kind of baggy. But
do you only have a blue suit, or do you also have a black suit?
I looked homeless. What? I also have a black suit.
Okay. I heard you're supposed to have black, and then you do blue, and then dark gray.
Yeah.
And then you start doing patterns. Check blue, check gray. Stripe blue, stripe gray.
So you've done a lot of suit research for a man who
polka dots,
who has one suit. Yeah, for if you're trying to sell big lollipops.
Yeah. Suit with a metal shoulder guard and a cape, a scabbard.
Is a scabbard the sword itself?
No, I think it's the holster.
I think it's the holster, yeah. Also called a holster.
Sheath.
A sheath. A lot of words for that.
Yeah. I wonder if it denotes the different kinds of swords.
Sword pussy.
Sword pussy, yeah.
Nickname in high school.
Nickname in high school, sword pussy.
Sword pussy. Yeah.
Sounds like I bring a sword, but
yeah,
I'm like
but I'm too scared to use it. Yeah, I don't. I'm like,
stop throwing it on the ground.
basically slapping them with the sword.
That's actually kind of that's closer to what sword fighting is like.
Slapping with a sharp edge.
Especially if you're like
Sharp
fencing
slaps.
using a tip, because there's no point in hitting hard. It's a blade. It's more like a. So it's like subtle.
There must be some point.
It's like
nicking. You're trying to nick them.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a real like sharp sword to like cut my arm like to where you'd kill me, you don't have to like rear back. You would just like
right.
That would kill me.
If I cut your arm like that,
maybe not my arm, but like
your neck
or somewhere. Like you'll get a deep cut like that.
Yeah, true.
I mean, think about how much. Like if you just had like a kitchen knife, how much effort? It wouldn't take that much effort to really cut.
No, a sharp one. Yeah.
Yeah. So like in movies when they're like, yeah, it's like that doesn't.
It's more like a wand.
A little bit. The other fun myth, and people believe this, they're like in Game of Thrones and shit, people have swords that are so heavy that they're cumbersome to wield. Mm-hmm. This didn't exist.
Ever.
Why would you make a sword that no one could wield?
No, it seems ridiculous.
Even the very long, like great
That's
swords.
what these mics are, actually.
Yeah,
this podcast is like it's like Thor's hammer. You have to be worthy to lift up the mic.
Yeah, you could only riff two-handed.
Right.
But no, even like long greatswords they're not that heavy. You can swing them quickly.
That does, man. Who had a sword in Game of Thrones? What, the zombie guy?
Well, Ned Stark
reanimated
has
giant?
a sword in the beginning called like ice or something that's so big it's like outrageous and like,
like a
he has to like.
Yeah, no, that seems.
But if you see people
silly.
fight with greatswords, like in fencing, the way it's like big enough where you couldn't do this, but you just sort of keep it rotating.
The momentum of it.
Yeah, and no one can approach you.
Right.
This is like in fencing.
Did you fence?
No, I've been watching a lot of TikTok about fencing and medieval sort of sword fighting.
Fence talk.
But like one guy with a greatsword will like be able to beat several people with normal swords. You just can't get close. Like even if it was 1 versus 4, and none of them could get in because he just kept doing this. And as soon as you go in, it's like you're dead. You're like
right.
Yeah.
So that's really, if you have a greatsword, is the only time when like a circle of guys around you going in one at a time, like that would make sense. You know, in fight scenes where it's like you're surrounded by 8 dudes and they each take turns trying their best to fist fight you instead of just all piling on.
Yeah. That kind of sort of. But what I just don't know, because they all talk about how accurate it is, but like in fencing, if you get hit, you're dead. Like that's if you hit me in the hand, the match is over and it resets. You get a point. But if we were fighting with like armor, I got to think part of the strategy is that I would just take a couple direct hits just where the plating is.
Yeah.
So then that would change the equation quite a bit.
That's true. That is true. I had another thing. I had the thing.
So you're at the wedding.
I'm at the wedding. Yeah, that was nothing. I wanted to circle back on the tornado thing. Do you remember? I guess I'm now realizing that I'm nostalgic for pre-drone storm chasing. It wasn't a guy when I was a kid. It wasn't just a guy with a remote controller. You had to get in a Toyota Highlander, loaded up with 45-pound plates in your trunk so you wouldn't fly away.
And there's always like a ton of people in the van.
Yeah, there's like 8 people.
Like they were carpooling to the,
it's almost
to the
like
tornado.
It's like ballast.
Are you going to the tornado? I'm going to the tornado.
I'm headed that way as well. If you could drop me off.
Can you drop me off at the tornado?
Yeah, there were always a ton of guys in there. Why? It's like one of those like armored vehicles or something in Call of Duty or I guess normal war. When one guy's facing out the left, one's facing out the right. Maybe it's just to get omnidirectional coverage. But it seems like you could just have one guy who's a little spry.
Yeah.
You don't need 4 guys.
Who can drive with his knees.
Maybe it's for the weight. Maybe you just need the car as heavy as possible.
Yeah.
So that when you die, it's super tragic and you make all kinds of news. You make a lot of headlines. Did you ever what did you think about those storm chasing people?
I thought they were boring. I thought it was
I thought they were boring too because also the footage they get is usually shit because it's so rainy.
Yeah,
it's like droplets and leaves,
and it's kind of a lot of annoying audio.
Right. Yeah, I'll cut all that.
That's probably a good impression of the audio.
It probably is. We'll have to see in post. Yeah, I was never that impressed.
It's like it was sort of like Shark Week, how the promise was like something crazy is going to happen, but there's no footage of anything crazy happening with sharks. No. And if there is, you can't show it.
No, there was one of the shark leaping in South Africa to get the seal. That's it. That's the coolest thing that a shark can and will ever do.
Yeah.
And then they just show that. And then they have like, what if this megalodon?
Right.
And then they have
Are
some
they still
shitty
out there?
CGI.
Probably not.
We don't know. A lot of the ocean's unexplored. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right in with what age you got to when you were disenchanted with Shark Week, because it should be around the same time you stopped believing in Santa.
I didn't like Shark Week growing up, but then people in like high school would talk about how it was fun. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance because people seem to be
like 50 Cent.
Yeah, like it was like we all know this is probably dumb, but whatever.
Yeah. But no, I think there was genuine fans of Shark Week. I don't think there was some kind of self-aware half where we're like, yeah, it's silly. No, maybe these other people were legit into it.
Yeah.
I think you're giving them a little more credit than you should. I think it was pretty stupid.
Huh. Yeah, yeah.
Because I would watch it like year after year, but then if you watch it year after year, you realize it's like 65% the same stuff.
Yeah, well, and it would be like a person sort of swimming, and then a shark, and then a person swimming, and a shark, and you realize like these are happening thousands of miles away at different times. You're just put two separate clips back to back to back to back, but these are not. This is not one event you're showing.
Yeah, that's when you first realize that editing plays a huge role in just your perception.
It should be called Editor Week.
Right. Yeah.
That's who's the star.
That's the real star of Shark Week is the guy with 5 monitors.
In the bay.
Yeah.
The editing bay.
In the cage, as it were. To put it on theme, they lock him in a cage.
You think that punching a shark in the nose really? You ever try to punch underwater? You're not for slow. You have no
torque.
Is
that what you were getting at?
Yeah, because you're not pushing
leverage.
Off your foot. I guess you could kick your feet really hard when you punch.
Flutter kick. Yeah. The shark just starts laughing at you. I can't eat this. This guy's hilarious. And then you just have to start making him laugh, doing bits. You're like the jester for the king.
Yes. Underwater miming.
Yeah.
You ever do that thing underwater where you blow, like, it's basically like you blow a kiss underwater? You go,
no.
It creates try next time underwater, it creates like a string of bubbles that follow your hand. It looks cool.
That's
nice.
It
looks like you're shooting like fire.
That's
bubbles.
Cool.
It's really fun.
I had a question for you related to water bending, which we're kind of talking about. You have an Avatar podcast, right? This will be your plug section.
It's more of reaction videos.
You have an Avatar reaction video.
I've done 2.
Problem. You have an obsession. It's unhealthy, and this is actually an intervention. If Charles, if you could come in.
It's the only thing I've ever done.
He's been here the whole time.
So yeah.
Come on, Nick, I'm worried about you. Nobody cares about this Nickelodeon show. And he's wrong. A lot of people care.
They do.
It's a great show.
They care about that more than they've cared about anything I've ever done.
Yeah. But maybe we'll do one after this. But here's my question is bending in general, you're using things that are existing. Water, Katara has the little pouch of water. Aang, I'm assuming, is just using air that's already in the atmosphere. Toph is rocks. Where does the fire come from? It's not like they have like a burning, like a kiln on his hip.
In the M. Night Shyamalan one, they did. They had to.
They had like a flaming lantern.
They
had
could
to pull
manipulate
from?
Existing flames.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
I stumped you.
Maybe it's like.
I thought you would actually have an answer for this.
I don't know if there's a canonical answer.
Yeah.
They can just produce fire. I mean, maybe it's like.
Isn't that kind of inconsistent with the other 3?
Yeah, I mean, if you pay attention, there's a lot of weird like when earthbenders like make a rock, like I stomp and then I create a rock wall. Like, where is the negative? Is there a hole that is exactly this shape? And if so, why doesn't this just fall back?
Oh, I see.
Are you summoning a little bit of earth from all, and are you lowering the floor slightly to create like?
Then it makes like 1-inch margins around the wall so it doesn't fall back. Well, also, no, I guess then they're bending the rock. I was gonna say how is it floating?
Bending.
Magic.
Yeah, can you bend a rock that I'm standing on? I don't know why I can't, but that would be helpful.
You should be able to fly
forever.
Yeah, it's like a magic rock carpet.
Yeah. Toph every once in a while will bend the rock that someone's standing on, which should be like kind of an instant KO move.
Yeah,
but she doesn't like do it,
or just sink them into the ground.
Yeah, that I saw another guy's take on this was every earthbender should just sink them and then snap their ankles instantly. Like you could just
yeah.
Although I'm writing an Avatar thing, and my workaround for that is that I've decided earthbenders' ability to like the radius at which they can bend earth is related to how skillful they are, and most can only bend earth at a very short proximity to themselves. Whereas you see in when Boomy fights for the first time, is this what your people want to hear about at all? When Boomy fights for the first time, he bends a rock that's like all the way across the room behind Aang. He actually pulls a boulder to him, which you see no other earthbender, even Toph, do that.
Across the room bending?
Like bending a rock that's all the way over there to me. Boomy.
People always push.
Yeah, they summon a rock up here and send it out. But there. Boomy, in fact, he does it when he escapes Omashu with his face. He summons rocks from, off camera, like a great distance away to like come to him. Mm-hmm. So he's got his telekinetic abilities expand really far. Yeah, whereas most do not.
Interesting. Do you want to get into some news stuff? We can do some news stuff because I don't really have any other anecdotes. Do I? Can you real quick tell me just tell the people what happened with your car? I think it's crazy.
Sure. So we had a beautiful 2012 Toyota Forester, absolutely gorgeous.
You still do.
And anyway, it's parked on Prospect Avenue on the legally parked on the whatever parking area, and a man passed out driving and hit our car and then 3 other cars, and so it was destroyed. So I just show up and the car is destroyed with a note that says like I saw what happened and then a number, and it said call me. I'm Bruce
- Batman.
Yeah, it did feel.
It says Bruce?
Vigilant. Yeah, his name was Bruce.
That's fun.
It was vigilante.
Oh man, he's already slipping up. He's giving you his real name.
But and then I assumed that this was the guy who hit my car because I'm just.
Yeah.
So I call the number and I'm like, hey, you fuck. Like, I didn't say that, but I'm like coming in kind of rude and hot.
If it isn't Bruce.
Yeah.
Well.
Like, I called an answer and I texted. I'm like, call me right now. Like, I was kind of terse with him. And then he calls and he's like, hey, I'm like a neighbor and I saw what happened. It was and I was like, oh, shit. All right. Sorry, Bruce. You're a good guy.
So you picked up already like foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, I was really pissed.
Yeah.
But he was like, hey, so he explains what happened, guys passing out, hitting
That's
all
a big
the cars.
readjustment you have to make in the moment.
Exactly. I had to be like, oh, you're like a hero.
Oh, thank you.
That's probably how a lot of people actually feel about Batman. They're like, he's a scourge on the city. He's a criminal. And then they save them from getting mugged. And they're like, oh, Batman's not so bad.
I actually like that bat. He's always been nice to me.
Anyway, but then I had the same problem again. The guy...
Never hit me with a batarang.
Bruce tells me this drunk piece of shit, couldn't handle his liquor and then drove into a bunch of cars.
Oh, that is funny that why wouldn't you assume that he's drunk?
So he sends me a picture of his car and then the guy slumped over in the chair and I'm fuming. So I take a picture of my destroyed car, Instagram story. Let's get some views. And then I take the picture of him slumped over and I'm like, and this drunk piece of shit hit me. And then I found out the next day.
You did put him on blast.
Yeah, I did. I scribbled out his face, sort of.
Okay.
But,
Yeah. You didn't. You sent me the uncensored, and he did look like a drunk piece of shit.
He did, but then I found out he was having some kind of a diabetic episode, and he was having a seizure. So I deleted that from Instagram. Anyway, so a guy had a seizure, hit a bunch of cars, destroyed our car. And then what's really frustrating is you'd think, all right, you hit my car, so the impetus is on you to fix my life such that it was before you entered it. He does nothing. I hear nothing. His insurance doesn't do anything. We call our insurance, and they're like, sorry, you don't have collision. They tell us we need his insurance to contact us, and we're like, okay, so you'll handle that? And they're like, we will try. And they kept calling every day like, we don't know who insures him. And we're like, just figure it out. And they're like, yeah, it's impossible.
So unfortunate that he had this episode on a road, which is, I guess, common in New York, where there's no median. It's just a bunch of cars, a bunch of other people's property. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, it's the worst kind of bumpers.
Yeah.
It's just other people's very expensive assets.
Yeah. And for some reason, his car was like fine.
Wow.
And then before the insurance, we get another note on our car from like a body shop nearby.
Yeah.
That's just like said also some version of like I saw what happened. And he had the guy's car. He has this dude's Audi.
An Audi?
Yeah, an Audi.
Whoa.
An indestructible Audi that can take on 4 cars at once.
Yeah.
It's like a guy with a long sword.
The Audi greatsword.
Yeah, exactly.
The Audi Claymore.
Yeah, nice. He's like, bring your car over. I talked to his insurance, and you're covered. I'll just do all the work. And so we're like, I don't know. It was just sounding weird.
Yeah.
So then we finally, yeah, exactly,
stuck it in glue on your car.
Yeah, and we looked up the reviews for this body shop, and like they were all like, every was like, this is a scam. Don't trust these people.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying like, hey, I'll just come. He just really wanted to pick up the car. That was his like main. We were like, explain, who'd you talk to? No, just trust me. What we need to do is get the car over here. So he's like trying to take our car hostage. Yeah. And he told us he was like
trying to abduct your car.
He was. And he told us he was like,
fuck your car.
He could have already. It was just sitting there and had this gash. Yeah, this beautiful
big wide opening.
Yeah. But he said he was like who the police call when they tow cars. So we were a little worried he was just going to come tow our car.
Yeah.
Because we were parked. You can't just have like a dead car, I don't think. You
live in an area where it'll get noticed more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kept putting new signs on it that's like tow truck is coming.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing in L.A.? There was this rogue tow truck company that would tow cars with people still in them.
No.
I saw that they got it on video. It's like the tow truck's at a stoplight and there's like a really expensive car behind the tow truck, and the tow truck has this like
they're stealing cars.
While the people are in them, they just back up like and connect your car and like get under it and start towing and like lifting. And the guy in the sports car knew it was happening. So he starts like backing up and like dodging, and the guy had such a quick, nimble car that he was able to like and like drive around.
Wow.
And then the tow truck chased him.
What?
They both like go.
You can't. You got to let him go at that point.
Yeah, no, he's like, I'm going to get you.
No, what, he's going to end up in front of him again and then do the same
He's probably
shit?
just going to smash into the car and be like, looks like you need a tow.
Hey, buddy, I'd be happy to pick that up for you.
Yeah. But anyway, the video went viral and this tow truck company lost their license to tow.
Yeah, of course. I'm surprised that it wasn't just like a lone thief or like like a group of 3 or 4 guys that the storm chasing didn't work out because drones have taken their jobs and now they have to just steal people's cars with tow trucks.
Do you think James Bond has a license to tow or just a license to kill?
His hands are probably registered as
tow trucks.
Yeah, as tow trucks. I'm Bond, James Bond. Wait! I was just coming out. I was about to come back out. Oh, real nice.
Oh, so here's something. If the other car's insurance can't contact them for a statement, they will just do nothing. They'll just say, I'm sorry, we haven't heard, so we don't know if we're at fault or not. So I'm calling every day, and they're like, yeah, they haven't answered the phone. So I'm like, what happens if they don't answer the phone? And they're like, we just can't do anything.
Wow.
So I'm like, wait, all they have to do is just not answer the phone?
Yeah.
And then I'm fucked?
Yeah.
And they were like, I wish we had better news.
Well, that comes back to what's happening with you now because you can't get a hold of this guy.
We can't get a hold of him, but so what, and you gave me the tidbit. I just called Geico and just assumed that he was one of their...
The tidbit was just call major insurance companies and say, but you took it a step further, which was act like it's the right one.
I just declared, I was like, your client hit me.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, what's his name? And we told him and they were like, oh yeah, he is our client. I was like,
was that your first try, Geico?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hole in one.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good. That's a win.
Yeah, and they were like, oh my gosh. And so they said, we'll
send the lizard right over.
Yeah. But we had to like open the claim and everything.
Yeah.
And then the other little
you haven't heard from him, right?
He might be dead.
He's probably sharing a room with Charles.
Yeah. Morning coughs.
The big Arizona sky.
And then the other funny thing is he has $25,000 of insurance. But the thing is, for just our car, that would be more than enough. But he hit 4 cars, and it counts as 1 accident.
Yeah. So
they're like, yeah, however far that money goes, and they won't pay out anything until they determine if it's above or below their threshold.
Oh, total.
So they need reports from everyone.
Wow.
And the thing is, everyone else is trying to get the maximum amount of money. Why wouldn't
obviously.
they? But they don't realize, like, our car is the only one with serious damage. Everyone else is like scratches.
Because you were the first car.
Yeah, and so like one of these guys with like scratches is asking for like $5,000, but they don't realize like, hey, the money you're taking it's from me, really.
Wow, you guys need to start a group chat.
We did contact one of them who just has scratches, but he's asking for $1,000.
Well, that's okay. $1,000's okay because they need to replace a panel. Like that's reasonable.
Okay, well.
It is. It's crazy.
He didn't know he'd been hit. He's fine. But yeah, he didn't realize he'd been hit. And then we told him, and he's like, I want $1,000.
Oh, just cash?
Probably, yeah. From us.
Just put it under the trash can at the corner. Damn, dude.
So it's still not resolved.
That
I have
sucks.
no car. I have to be in Connecticut this Friday.
All right. So did you know the Iranian president went down in a helicopter? Like the helicopter crashed and he died?
No. Is this recent?
Yeah, this is like 3 days ago.
I guess you did say we were doing news things. No, this happened in 1991.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, same guy, same pilot who got Kobe. This guy's a menace. He's on a rampage.
But he lives. It's because he jumps right before impact. You know, they always said you could do in elevators.
Did they say you can do that? Who says you could do that?
Children.
Okay.
I'll just jump right before, like the moment before it hits the ground, I'll jump.
Yeah. I actually have wondered that because it seems like helicopter crashes are so devastating and you get so mangled if you stay in the helicopter. It seems like the smart thing to do would be maybe jump out. And then maybe you'd impale yourself, or on impact you would die.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like the helicopter is acting as a little bit of a...
I agree, but it seems like from recent history that helicopters are not safe to be in.
I think you just can't fall out of the sky in anything.
You think? What if it's just you?
Yeah.
Did you? I don't know if you remember when you took like the written driving test. I remember there being a question on there about like seatbelts and what's safe and what's not safe, and if you don't wear a seatbelt, it's safer because you'll be thrown clear of the wreck. That was like one of the multiple choice options, trying to trick people up.
Yeah.
Like guy who's like trying to get his license who's like 75. Who's like, yeah, they never worked. I always just landed in some soft trees, bushes.
Yeah. I had a car accident, went through the windshield, through my window, landed on the couch.
Right, yeah. Like
boom.
Yep. Started watching The Simpsons.
I was imagining The Simpsons as I was saying that. That seems like
That's how The Simpsons
Homer
started.
Launches it. Not through, like, anyway, it seemed like a couch gag.
Yeah, couch gag. Yeah. Couch gag. Nickname in high school. It was apparently due to technical failures. It was in fog, which is the same reason Kobe's went down.
Wasn't Iran just now getting involved with all this fun in Israel and Palestine?
I like that. I like that's a nice spin. All this fun.
All the fun.
All this fun.
That's why they got in. It wasn't political. They were missing out on FOMO.
Yeah. Hezbollah is Lebanon. I'm not sure. I know that Iran and Russia are very tight. Like when that happened, Vladimir Putin like put out something on his like R.I.P., you know.
Are Iran and Russia like close allies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
it's kind of like the axis of like resistance, like anti-US. Like they're enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Russia buys a lot of Iranian arms.
I don't know much about Iran, but to me, Iran and Russia, that seems like a no fun table.
Not a good time. I was thinking
no one's goofing around.
Well, Iran's very big, actually. It's like as big or bigger than Saudi Arabia. Like it's way bigger than I thought. And it seems to be doing okay, like economically or whatever. And like Tehran is a pretty happening metropolis. But I'm like, what do you do for like? Is there comedy there? That's kind of my litmus test of like if a country's good is like
is there comedy?
Is there comedy and like how what's the scene like
in
Iran? And I feel like it's got to be horrible.
Ramin Mustafavi is Iranian.
I should ask him.
You should ask.
Did you see Argo?
Years ago.
With the Iranian hostage crisis?
With Ben Affleck.
Yes.
The Iranian hostage crisis was second to Ben Affleck.
That's true. That's true. We really fucked them up as a country. Like we did it, like all the things that you hear like conspiracy people say about, you know, the U.S. destabilizing governments and stuff. I guess not really conspiracy, just history. We did like a CIA-backed coup to overthrow a legitimately elected prime minister of Iran who was like elected by the people, wanted to nationalize their oil, like take the oil from the control of the British and the U.S. and give it back to Iran. We didn't like that. And so we just did a coup, like the CIA, and installed this like dictator who was horrible, who was like Putin. Like he had a secret police that tortured people, huge repression of free speech and all that shit. He ruled for 15 years, and then he got cancer and he got ousted by this really like fundamental Islamic guy, and that's like when the Ayatollah, that's when it became a theocracy, like the Islamic Republic of Iran, as opposed to whatever it was before, the Kingdom of Iran. So the treatment of that, so the guy that we installed, what's his name, Reza Pahlavi, he got cancer. He got leukemia, blood cancer, one of those things. He tried to get admitted to several countries to help him. They wouldn't admit him. Luna, the U.S. admitted him. We started treating him for cancer, and that is what sparked the hostage crisis.
Wow.
So there was already protests happening of like, you know, we hate this guy, he sucks. But then when I think when we accepted him for cancer treatments, that's when like all the students broke into the U.S. embassy and captured all these people.
Wow.
Just because, and it was like if you give us Reza Pahlavi to kill and torture, we will let all these hostages go. And we didn't do it.
Why didn't we?
I think because it sets a bad precedent for U.S. allies. Then you wouldn't really, you know, if we're going to double cross you when it's convenient, I don't think that's a good look.
Oh, yeah. I think they do say that in the movie.
I don't know. They might, but I feel like it's kind of implied of like it's not a good. Because I was thinking that. I'm like, just give them up. It's like 60 people.
Yeah.
But no. Isn't that kind of crazy, though?
I have this. Remember that kid who
it's nuts.
Stole a flag in North Korea and they like killed him?
What?
It was like an American.
He stole a flag?
He like went on a school trip or some weird trip.
What a horrible thing to steal. Who wants a flag?
He just took like a flag from like the hotel.
Not even like an AirPod Pro?
No, like a little flag or some like nothing, like a tchotchke.
Like a salt shaker.
Yeah, and they put him in like work camp, and then we like negotiated for him back, and we got him back, and he was in this like sort of vegetative state, and he died like days later.
Wow. He got worked to death because he stole a trinket?
Yeah, and they were just having him do like data entry. You know, kids can't do shit these days. Yeah, he's a classic
digital marketing.
Gen Z doesn't, no work ethic.
Yeah, he was just making posters.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is too American, but I feel like if an American goes to another country and disobeys like stupid laws like that, we should because I've heard people here be like, well, he shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, no, that's a dumb law. We should turn our whole country to glass for doing that, I think.
Yeah, well, like Brittany Griner, was it weed in Russia?
Yeah, things like that.
Was that weed?
You should have known the laws. It's like laws don't apply to us. We're the kings.
I mean, like it's kind of like you got to sleep in the bed you made a little bit. Like
I don't agree. It's dumb bed. Kill them.
If you brought weed though,
kill them.
That's a dumb one.
Kill them.
That's a dumb one. That's so dumb.
Let's fight a war.
Bringing drugs into Russia.
That's not smart.
That's a horrible one.
But also, it's no big deal.
The flag one's no big deal.
Both are no big deal.
And weed's just a plant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's just a plant. 5, 4, impact in 3, 2, 1. Just a plant. Starts a nuclear Armageddon.
But I like that the like old thing. I don't know if this is true, but I think this is Julius Caesar thing that under the Roman Empire, any Roman could just walk across the continent and nobody would touch them because they know if you harm a Roman, like you'll get so fucked up that it's not worth it.
I'm not sure about the Roman Empire, but that was the case in the Mongolian Empire.
Okay, I want that.
Yeah. You could walk with a gold plate over your head.
And I sort of feel like we already could achieve that. We're just deciding not to because it's more nice and diplomatic. But like if Reagan was president right now.
Oh, no, that's within the Roman Empire.
Yeah, I'm saying like I think Americans, we should already have this, but we don't because...
Within America or just throughout the globe?
Across the globe.
Nice.
Because we politely decide not to kill everybody who touches us, but we easily could.
Yeah, but then they could kill us.
No, I don't think so.
No, yeah.
We could kill them way harder.
It's true. Because we have red, white, and blue in our blood, and they only have red, maybe.
Green and yellow.
A little. Yeah, watermelon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, speaking of blood, someone sent 2 vials of blood to the RNC headquarters in D.C. addressed to Trump, which I think is kind of... And then, there's a big hoopla about it. Of like
2 vials of blood?
Vials of blood, which is actually kind of nothing. It's not like anthrax. It's not... Who cares? They don't know whose blood it is.
What if he drinks them and gets younger and more beautiful?
Yeah, it was probably to help him.
Baby's blood.
Yeah, probably it was probably a pro-Trump person.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see whose like blood it is. Because I'm kind of... It might be like the Bruce situation where it's like... You think the guy whose blood it is sent it, but he could just be a bystander.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It could just be some like crazed guy at the Red Cross.
Sure.
Being like, I know what I'll do. Yeah, very ineffectual.
That's the thing. I don't know what the message is.
I don't either. They didn't say. Maybe because they don't want to like embolden more blood to be sent. If he sent the type, that's a donation.
Yeah.
That's a donation to the RNC.
Yeah, yeah.
They could sell that blood.
If Trump gets a cut, he
it would be funny if they like did sell that and then people just start like sending their kidneys and their son's lungs and stuff to the RNC. Like anything to help the cause.
I think Trump should
please take my wife's spleen.
You know how is it Roosevelt, Teddy, whatever, gets shot and then finishes the speech? Show what he won't be deterred.
Yeah.
Trump should do that with the vials of blood. He's like, you think this is going to deter me? And he drinks it in front of everybody to show that he's not afraid. And everyone's like, yes!
Yeah, I mean, it fits with the party. It's red.
It's red.
Yeah.
This was sent to me by a great supporter. His blood is red, much like the red tide will wash over us all.
I think I just got to do stupid TikTok impressions.
You're a good Trump.
I appreciate the blood.
Yeah, I hope Trump makes a statement about the blood.
Yeah. Always got something good to say.
Everything counts.
Yeah.
It's not just a drop in a bucket.
I'm
pouring it directly into my open wounds.
This is about to die.
Yes. Well, Nick, thank you again for doing it. Do you want to plug your shit? Plug Flophouse. Flophouse Comedy Club. Great comedy club in Williamsburg. What's the address? 362 Grand. Hey. We got this one.
362 Grand Street, Flophouse Comedy Club. Come see a show every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes other days. Also filming a special June 15th, if this comes out before that.
It will.
June 15th, come to Flophouse Comedy Club. See my new hour. Last 3 hours I've done, not gone super well, so I'm due for a good one.
4th time's the charm. $12,000 the charm.
Exactly.
Who are you using to film it?
Austin's people.
All right. Comedy lotteries every Monday.
Comedy lottery every Monday.
Yep.
Which some comedians are now describing as exploitative.
Really?
Yet they come.
That's funny.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. You can follow Charles in memoriam page at Charles_Angle.
Yeah. Donate to the family.
Donate to the Angles. The Venmo for the Angle donation is at Zach-Russell-1. Yeah, thanks for listening to the pod. Please leave a review for the pod. It's at Overshadowed_podcast on Instagram. I'll put the video up on YouTube. I actually used Autopod. Did we talk about Autopod? Or you use like Trimbolt or something?
I use Time Bolt.
It will. This doesn't need to be in the podcast. I can tell you this after. Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate you. Have a good night. And we'll be back with Billy Carter next week with Will Foskey. We were going to do it this week, but Charles was in the hospital, so we couldn't do that. We do hope he gets better. Please send your prayers, wiggle your toesies for him. Thank you, guys.
You know how they throw blood on like fur coats?
Uh-huh.
If I was a vampire, I'd always wear fur coats. Then I'd be like...
Right.